Ciao everyone. Today is a day a little bit different because today we don't learn Italian with lyrics, but we talk about Italy through lyrics that are not in Italian, but it's complicated. So, what am I talking about? We discussed a little bit about this on Discord, and I thought, why not? Should I comment on Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash? And generally speaking, I had a positive response, so there we are. What is Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash? Okay, is a song by Tommy Cash, who is an Estonian rapper. And I quote from the official Wikipedia page in English. It was written by himself and Finnish songwriter. I don't know how to pronounce this name. With the production handled by the partner whose name I don't know how to pronounce. The song was released on the 7th of December 2024 and will represent Estonia in the Eurovision Song Contest 2025. But then, why am I talking on my very Italian channel about a song by an Estonian rapper and singer? Because in Italy, people are talking a lot about this song. At the point that many people got offended by the song, and we reached the timeline, the unrealistic timeline, where Kodakons decided to request the European Broadcasting Union to disqualify the song from the contest. Okay, what is Kodakons? Kodakons is the Italian Customer Association. Is an association whose main focus is to protect Italian consumers from fraudulent products. So even the request from Kodakons doesn't really make sense, because Kodakons should protect Italian concerning goods, okay? Protect them from scams, for example. They are fucking clowns. I know what I'm talking about. And so what happened? They asked to disqualify the song. Why? Because its content was considered offensive, because was focusing on stereotypes aimed at Italy and Italians, okay? And technically, in the Eurovision Song Contest cannot participate song insulting or discriminating other countries and cultures, which makes sense. Of course, discrimination, it is not we don't want discrimination at the Eurovision Song Contest. So, the question of the questions is this song insulting? Is this song offensive? Is this song aimed to criticize and offend Italy? Spoiler, for me, no. But let's check these so-called shameful lyrics. I don't know. So, we have the lyrics. It is very hard to not laugh reading the lyrics, because I listened to the song a lot. I ended up in a rabbit hole you can't imagine, just to understand better the song. And by my point will be showing you all why the true target of the song, it is not Italy, and that's why it shouldn't be taken as an offense, as offensive for Italy. And in fact, even Tommy Cash said in an interview, like, guys, it wasn't my point. I didn't even think about the fact that Italians could get offended by this. I do agree with Tommy Cash, but we are special beings, and we can complain as much as we want about our own country, but other people from other countries should shut the fuck up. This is the general mentality of Italians. So I keep having in my mind the video of the exhibition in the Estonian contest, and it is quite funny. So I'm trying my best to stay serious. In my defense, I noticed that even Tommy Cash was having issues remaining serious during the performance, because I think he had this urge to start laughing because it is quite stupid, the lyrics, and it is made to be like that, in my opinion. Anyway, so lyrics, right? Mi amore, espresso macchiato, macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato Corleone. I cannot mimic the accent of Tommy Cash, which is a mix of fake Italian pronounced with a US accent, but with an aftertaste of Eastern European accent speaking English, which is like, I don't know. Can't really hate him though, because it reminds me of my future husband, because the mix is very similar. But I cannot like just go and listen to the song, because I cannot give you the same feeling. Anyway, mi amore. Is this Italian? No. In Italian would be mio amore, mio amore. This is actually a mix, just like por favore, between Spanish and Italian. Amore and favore are Italian words. Mi and por are Spanish words. So, as you can see, it is a mix of the two, because in Spanish would be mi amor, in Italian would be mio amore. In Italian would be per favore. In Spanish would be por favor. Some might think that, like, I read so many pissed Italians that I am cringing, guys, not gonna lie. And people are like, oh, but he's so ignorant. How can he mix Spanish and Italian? Now, let's be honest. I think Tommy Cash is smart enough to understand that if he goes on reverso context or Google Translate and he writes in English, my love, he's going to see that it is actually mio amore and please, it is per favore. He's not that stupid. My conclusion here is that he did it on purpose. And at the end of the video, when I'm going to explain you why the aim of the song is not actually Italy, but more another country, it will show why this is made on purpose. Anyway, espresso macchiato. Question of the questions. What is an espresso macchiato? Okay, let's start by saying, and remember this because I'll come back to talk about this when we'll discuss about the actual meaning of the song. In Italy, nobody asks for an espresso. We don't ask for espressos. This is something happening in usually English-speaking countries because they are not used to our coffee, and so they call it espresso. In Italy in general, if I go to a bar and I want a so-called espresso, I just ask for a coffee. Like, I go there and un caffè per favore, and they give me the espresso, because that's the basics, okay? Then I can ask un caffè lungo per favore, un caffè ristretto per favore. Never heard. Best case, I see people asking for a lungo, but normally it is a caffè or a cappuccino, but a cappuccino is other thing. So we don't use espresso, very important, but ideally it is the little cup of coffee, the classic coffee you see in Italian advertisement. Macchiato with milk. When in Italy we add a few drops of milk in a normal coffee, and an espresso, we call it caffè macchiato. That's why I was criticizing Duolingo, because Duolingo was telling you, ask for a caffè con latte. We don't ask for a caffè con latte, we ask for a caffè macchiato. So it means that you put milk in the espresso. Why? We'll talk about this later, because again, this is not a coincidence. There is a reason why the espresso is macchiato, so with milk. Also, other important thing, in Italy, caffè macchiato means that you put just a little bit of milk. You don't pour half of a fucking bottle of milk in it. When you do it, you do something that in Italian at best is called caffè latte, and you usually drink it like same idea of the cappuccino, but the latte is normal and it is not made into foam. But caffè latte is something usually you don't drink at the bar, you just drink it at home if you want to do breakfast. But yeah, again, it is different, but even in that case, it's something that I don't see that often. Like, usually all my friends were asking, because I don't drink coffee. I drink it only in the morning because of digestion matters, but generally speaking, I don't like coffee. No matter the country. The only coffee I drink usually is the Italian one, because I have to be honest about it. It is what I am used, so it is what it is good for me. So I barely drink it in Italy. Imagine outside of Italy. No way. And I don't drink it for pleasure, like 99% of Italians. I drink it because it helps me with my health. So we have among my friends, I think I never heard anyone ordering a caffè macchiato. It is usually a coffee, so un caffè lungo, un cappuccino. These are the most used options. Why? Because we think our coffee is good and we want to taste it. We don't want to spoil it with milk. Remember this? We are going to talk again about this later. Espresso Macchiato Corleò. On Spotify, you will find that here this part is transcribed as corneo. It doesn't mean shit and it doesn't make sense, while Corleò makes sense. I'm going to explain. Let's start by saying that don't trust Spotify's transcription. They are often wrong. Even YouTube Music have them wrong often, because they are taken from other websites. So if the guy or the AI doing the transcription misheard something, which can happen and happens very often with songs that are not in English, and even with English they sometimes have issues, but even more with languages where you have less data, it is very hard for AI and even for people to understand. Even in Italian, people often do not understand what the singers are singing. So why am I saying alongside other Italians that here he does say Corleò? Corleo, it is an abbreviation of Corleone. What is Corleone? Here we have two main options. Remember them, we are going to talk about these later. First option, Vito Corleone is a fictional character from The Godfather, and it became a very popular fictional character, stereotypical, representing Italy and Italian, and Italianity in general. And he was a mafioso. The other option is an Italian city. In Sicily, there is a city called Corleone. And it is true that from this city, many mafia gangsters came from, okay? So this little city was the origin of the so-called in Italian clan dei Corleonesi, referring to a group of mafiosi, so very specific type of organized crime, family-based, and one of the most dangerous mafia family in Sicily, from Sicily, came from the city called Corleone. Probably this is why the fictional character of The Godfather used this last name. It makes sense. Now, remember, because for us in Italy, Corleone is the city. We know it is related to mafia, but actually the city is trying to clean up their name, because in Italy, mafia is not seen as something positive. It is seen as a big issue. Remember this? We are going to talk about this later. Then we have the chorus. The chorus is just like the intro. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, 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 por favore, espresso macchiato. Not much to say. Then we have the first verse. Ciao bella, I'm Tommaso, addicted to tobacco, me like me coffee, very importante. No, ciao bella. I'm cringing. Stop saying ciao bella, please, guys. With all my heart. I'm Tommaso. Why? Because Tommy Cash is called Tom something, I don't know, something Estonian that resembles Tommaso. Tommaso is the Italian version of his name. Other thing, remember, we are going to talk about this later. Addicted to tobacco. Another stereotype concerning Italy. We all say ciao bella and we all smoke. About this stereotype, I am not sure. Okay, I have to say this. Usually I do not stay with people who smoke, for a simple reason. I am asthmatic. So for me, smoke, it's problematic. So I have issues breathing, and usually when someone smokes, I go away. I have friends smoking, but to be fair, personal experience, here in France, from my perspective, people smoke more, okay? I don't have data, I don't know, it could be a coincidence, but I don't think that smoking is something specifically related to Italy. Like, in France, they smoke, no, like, it is something. Remember this, you never heard about the smoking stereotype. All these stereotypes are popular in a specific country, which I'm going to talk about later. But again, I think we and the French smoke equally. Maybe even a bit more in France. I don't know. Like, guys, do you smoke in Spain as well? Do you smoke in Germany? I don't know. I lived in my whole life only in Italy and in France, and smoking is pretty common in both places. So again, this is a really fake stereotype. Mi like mi coffee very important. Mi caffè, sorry, very importante. Again, in Italian, I like is mi piace. So it is a mix between mi piace and I like. Mi caffè, again, in Italian would be a me piace il caffè. I like coffee. Mi caffè is like, I don't know. Spanish friends, can we both feel insulted by this? Because it's a bit of us, a bit of you, like at this point, it's a mix. But again, it is not something the Estonian people do. It is something, this mix, this very specific mix, and people not able to tell Spanish from Italian, it is specific from a certain country. Anyway, mi coffee, like my coffee, which in Italian would be il mio caffè, very importante, like is very important in Italian, è molto importante. Stereotype about Italians liking a lot their coffee, haha, funny, but true. It is true, like coffee. It is very important. We have even songs about how important coffee is, and I'll tell you more. Back in university, friendly reminder, I have a master's degree in law. I studied also sociology because I had to decide if I wanted to write my thesis representing my specialization, my final specialization, and I had to decide if I wanted to focus more on technology, so on digital law, which is what in the end I chose, or sociology, and write a thesis on prisons. So I spent my last 2 years dedicating myself half to sociology and half to IT law. Now, when I was studying sociology, I was focusing more on crime law and, of course, the study of prison dynamics. And I have to tell you, in Italian prisons, the ritual of drinking a coffee is very important. In fact, when you visit often, not always, but as far as I know, often when you visit a prison, you are offered by the people detained there coffee, like, but good quality, made with mocha, which is like the mocha, the thing that seems like a teapot, but it's a coffee pot. And it is very rude to refuse drinking that, because in prison it is seen as something very precious. People detained there value a lot. So yeah, culturally speaking, socially speaking, coffee, it is central. But I don't see why it should be like something that should be mocked, to be fair. Each country and each culture has some food or drink that is important. Like, I know that for French, for example, people joke about baguette, but it's actually a good thing to eat baguettes. Like, it's a very good type of bread. So, like, I understand the stereotype, but at certain point, at least it makes sense that societies and people like to gather each other and enjoy food and drinks, mainly if they are healthy. No time to talk, scusi, my days are very boozy. Technically it's busy, but in the song it said it with Italian accent, which is boozy. You are welcome. Only quality on this channel. So, and I just own this little ristorante. So it's like, no time to talk, sorry. In Italian would be non ho tempo di parlare, scusi. Which is a courtesy form. My days are very busy. I miei giorni sono molto frenetici, molto movimentati. And I just own this little ristorante, which is pronounced in a way that I can't really say because I can't, I don't have this type of accent. But like it is a mix between Italian and English, I guess. Like it's not restaurant, it's like restaurante, something like that. And another stereotype, all Italians own a ristorante, apparently, which is a restaurant. But something weird, no time to talk, scusi, my days are very boozy. Weird, because if you think about it, another stereotype about Italy is the dolce vita. So, people not working. But fun fact, is a completely wrong stereotype. Because actually in Italy we have the opposite problem. We have a situation where companies are so badly organized that we have the ratio worked hours and results. Like it is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, of the entire European Union. It means that in Italy we work a lot, but we are not productive at all. And I actually can confirm this because in many companies, people complain that they have entire hours during the day where they legit are not doing anything. They are like drinking coffee together, chatting and whatnot, because for some reasons the partner they have to do something with is late, because they had issues generally speaking, so part of the work is missing and the employees cannot proceed with work. So objectively speaking, the dolce vita is kind of bullshit, because we actually have this incredible productivity issue where we work a lot but we don't produce much. Like it's something that happened. But my days are very busy clashes with the stereotype of dolce vita. Remember this? Then we have life may give you lemons when dancing with the demons, because it has to rhyme, so it is pronounced like Italian wise, but it'd be like when dancing with the demons. And then like one of the favorite verses in Italy right now, no stresso, no need to be depresso. In Italy we say no stress, by the way, we don't say no stresso. I'll talk about this again. Nothing is random in this song, but very cool. No stress, no need to be depressed. I want like a shirt with that. And then we have once again the pre-chorus and the chorus. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato con le O. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato. Fun fact, many people were complaining because Tommy Cash says macchiato, like dividing the word. But again, it is not the Eastern European pronunciation. This is a very specific pronunciation of certain English speakers. Then we have mi like to fly privati, with 24 carati. Also, mi casa very grandioso. I like to fly private with 24 carats. Also, my house, my home is very big, very grandiose, very splendid, if you will. Again, something weird here. Yeah, we have the whole part of the rappers and the trappers, like flexing goods and wealth, generally speaking. But in Italy, to fly private, it is not really a thing. Like, we don't really care. It's not really something we care very much about it. I understand more the jewels, because the carats are what makes certain gems and precious metals more worthy. Also, like having villas, big houses, understandable. But already here, there's something weird because in Italy, we don't really care about these flying private. Also, because we don't fly very much. We travel a lot by car and by train. So, we are more likely, if we really want to make a stereotype, to talk about expensive cars. Also, because guys, we are kind of one of the main countries making expensive cars. Do I have to mention Ferrari or Lamborghini? So again, there is something weird here. It doesn't seem to talk about Italy. And then we have Mimoni numeroso. I work around the clock. That's why I'm swearing like a mafioso. Okay, another thing also. Here we have casa grandioso. I don't know what. It is kind of mimicking more the Spanish pronunciation. But what's the point here? That a Spanish person wouldn't make this mistake because there is a mistake here. Because casa, la casa, is feminine. So it would be mi casa, my house, my home is very grandiosa. Like, la mia casa è davvero molto grandiosa. A Spanish person wouldn't make this issue because their language, like Spanish, has genders. And casa, if I remember correctly, casa, is feminine. So would be more natural for a native Spanish speaker to say casa grandiosa. Because we have the same genders, guys. Who is going to make this mistake? A language not having the same gender or not having genders at all. Same thing, mimoni numeroso, again with this mi, which is Spanish, because in Italian it would be I miei soldi sono numerosi. Who the fuck would say that? I don't know. But it would basically like, I have a lot of money. Here is a mix between English, Italian, Spanish, where the number of the subject money is kept singular, the adjective is kept singular, but in Italian we say I soldi, plural, I soldi numerosi. So again, there is a grammar mistake. And believe me, Tommy Cash is not as stupid to not be able to check something like that on a Google Translate. I work around the clock. We don't say that. We don't even have, fun fact, we don't even have this idiom in Italian. And then the most problematic verse, because that's why I'm swearing like a mafioso. Because one of the big issues is one of the most dangerous stereotypes is to be associated always with mafia, right? But again, we are actually pretty much against it. The stereotype is used in another country. life here, like my favorite, absolute favorite verse of this song, life is like spaghetti, it's hard until you make it. Beautiful. No stresso, no stresso, it's gonna be espresso. Instead of it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be espresso because it has to rhyme with the no stresso. But okay. And then we end with the chorus plus an outro. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, 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 por favore, por favore. Espresso macchiato, repeated a lot of times. Now, these days, I read a lot about this song. Wait, where is my beautiful... I lost my glasses, my gossip glasses. The gossip glasses, what a nice alliteration. I found them. So, I was saying, let's talk about the rabbit hole I ended up in. So, during these days, I read a lot from Italian people, from people from outside of Italy, articles, Italian articles, because, guys, you have no clue how much Italians are talking about this song. And you might say, oh, they are all against it. No, guys. If we can do something, is arguing among each other, like national sport. So we have mainly two factions, which are like equally stupid if you ask me, but okay, like I'm cringing reading both things, both options. Generally, we have two macro factions that are, oh my god, this is offensive, this is promoting stereotypes about Italy, we should cancel it. Stupid. The other stupid faction is you don't understand the artist. He's actually right. All these stereotypes are true. We are the worst. We are the most stupid. Fuck Italy and fuck Italians. Like, guys, you are both incredibly cringe because by definition of a stereotype, it is something negative, exaggerated, based on false or exaggerated information. So please stop embarrassing yourself. That said, I started to read interviews of Italian singers, Italian artists, from Tommy Cash himself. I started to watch his other videos, to listen to the other song, generally reading about him, okay? And despite the fact that he clearly said that being offensive and targeting Italy was not his point, and he was explicit about it, I'm here to explain you why this song is not about Italy, but about the country who mainly created these stereotypes and that represents something that Tommy Cash criticized in other instances. So, come with me in the rabbit hole. I don't think you are ready for this. I explained this to Alex yesterday, and at the end he told me, yes, I think you are right, but god damn it, why do you have to go there? My expertise. So, let's start by reviewing again the lyrics. We have, as I explained before, the first hint, which is this weird mix between Spanish and Italian. So we have to find, like, the first hint to find the country is what country has some affinity with Spanish, because a portion of the population speaks Spanish. They have also sort of a connection with Italy, but they cannot tell Spanish from Italian, mainly when staying a bit superficial, okay? Think about it. Other second hint, so first hint, mixing Spanish and Italian. So probably not a country having a Neo-Latin language, because I can tell you the majority of people I know being native speaker of a Neo-Latin language, they can tell Spanish from Italian. So not a country with a Neo-Latin language. Second, a country adding a lot of milk to coffee, probably because the coffee is not that good, and calling it espresso. Who does that? Hint, the same who creating the so-called latte, or latte, how the fuck they pronounce it. No insult. It is just because it is always an issue in Italy when people ask for a latte or whatever, because latte in Italian is milk. So if you ask to normal Italian, not very globalized, a latte, they are going to give you a glass of milk. Do you see the conundrum? So we are talking about someone, like a country, where it is common to mix coffee and milk, probably due to a certain taste their coffee has. Then the third hint is Corleone, who has adopted in their pop culture a fictional character called Vito Corleone, the same ones who created The Godfather. As I said, if you check the Wikipedia page in Italian of the comune di Corleone, so the city of Corleone, you see that they are trying their best to promote themselves as a city with much more to offer than just a bad name related to mafia. In Italy, mafia, it is a very serious matter. It is not something we joke about, because many people died because of mafia. Also, remember that mafia was the first. Mafia, it is the family-based organized crime coming from Sicily, but several regions have originated a different type. As I explained in other situations, we have mafia or oh my god, I'm forgetting how is also called the organization originating from Sicily. It's something with Sacro, but I don't remember right now. You have 'Ndrangheta from Calabria, Camorra from Campania, and Sacra Corona Unita from Puglia. Oh my god, like it pisses me off so much that I'm having issues remembering the one from Sicily. Just a second, because I lost some tea. Anyway, destroying everything. Nice. So in Italy, it is still a very sensitive matter. It's not something you can laugh about. It is not something seen as cool, okay, like gangster and whatnot. It is seen as something very problematic. like we are quite serious when talking about it, because even nowadays mafia gives a lot of issues and spread not only through the whole of Italy, but also in other countries. So like for us, it's like talking about terrorism. Okay, it's something very serious to talk about. Then we have another hint. Ciao bella. What specific tourists are very passionate about abusing ciao bella? Other thing, as I was saying, this addiction to tobacco, cigarettes, smoking, and whatnot, it is specific and popular in a very specific English country. Like, so another hint, this country is also often represented as very productive, where productivity is central, where people are very busy working. And it is also a country where one of the most popular stereotype is that basically Italians have restaurant. Like Italians cannot have other jobs but owning and managing restaurants. Another hint. Here it is a very nice way to put fuck around and find out, as in life may give you lemons when dancing with the demons, or the demons, as Tommy Cash likes to say, as in if you mess around with negative things like evil things, life might become very sour, okay? And this is not referred to Italy, it is referred to the other country he's talking about. And then again, no stresso, no need to be depresso. Now, I understand that in Italy we tend to have vowels at the end of words. And I understand that often our accent is not perfect. Understandably so. I really understand. However, there are people from a very specific country we are talking about in this song who, instead of learning proper Italian, they just take words and they add vowels randomly at the end because hee haha, that's so Italian this way. Because, for example, in Italian we use the word stress, but we don't say stresso, okay? Like, you see, I understand having an accent, but like this thing about adding everywhere vowels at the end is like, guys, if you really want to speak Italian, just learn it without this trickery, okay? And then, as I was saying before, me like to fly privati, I like to fly private. It is not something Italian, okay? We pretty much don't care about private jets and whatnot. Yes, it is seen as something rich, but we are more car-wise, okay? Again, there is an English-speaking country where flying private, it is basically an idiom, like not an idiom, but an English expression. We don't even have it in Italian. We probably translated it from English because we say jet privato, private jet, but it's not something concerning us specifically. And again, it is an English-speaking country because English doesn't have genders. So many native English speakers have a lot of difficulties learning to match adjectives with nouns concerning the gender, because in English you don't have to do that, so they get confused and they end up saying things like casa grandioso instead of grandiosa. Understandable, like it's understandable, trust me, I perfectly understand the issue, but it is something typical of English speakers because it's something new to them, and that's okay. Again, I'm saying English speakers because I work around the clock, same reasonement for stresso. I work around the clock is an idiom, an idiomatic expression meaning to work a lot for a long time, because in Italian we don't have a direct translation. We share, for example, idioms with French. We have idioms in Italian that have basically the exact same translation and meaning in French. Probably there's something similar in Spanish as well, since we are linguistically close. But we don't have an idiom like I work around the clock, because again, it doesn't really fit our culture. That's it. We take our time in the end. We have more frenetic lives related to work mainly, but it's specifically focused in Milan. It is more like an exception. And again, why talking about mafiosi, mafia in general? Because again, this country we are talking about glorified a bit, like we saw at the beginning of the song, mafia, making it something like a comic book, something not real. And I sort of understand, because not as many people died because of mafia in this other country, while in Italy this happened. So I understand the issue, the social difference and the cultural difference, because we don't see the things in the same way, because this criminal phenomenon didn't impact our countries in the same way. So I don't agree with it, but in a certain way I understand why this difficulty in understanding. Then we have the spaghetti. Again, this country we are talking about basically things that there are two types of pasta. One is spaghetti and the other one is macaroni, and they don't even call it like that. So also ravioli sometimes, but ravioli is very general. And again, we have another idiom that is specific of English. It's gonna be alright. In Italian, it's gonna be alright is andrà tutto bene. The translation is close, but it is not the same. And it doesn't have the same construction. So in this case, it's gonna be espresso, like it can be meant as it will be espresso, as the coffee will be espresso. But it is also a play on words with it's gonna be alright. In Italian, this duality, this double meaning doesn't work. That's why I'm saying it's not a coincidence there is so much English and English idioms in the song. And now that I showed you all the hints in the lyrics, let's talk about the final hint, which for me was decisive, which is the video. Espresso Macchiato has an official video because Tommy Cash is an artist also focusing on visual art, so the videos representing the song. What happens in the video? We have Tommy Cash with a paper bag, extracting from the paper bag the classic Starbucks cup, again, which is not a coincidence. In Italy, when you ask for a coffee, you don't get the Starbucks cup, you know, the classic container in paper with the cup with like a lot of coffee in it. You have instead what we call tazzina, which literally means little cup, and it is a cup specifically used for coffee. In fact, I have tazzine in my house. There is, for example, a whole debate ongoing since the beginning of the time in Italy concerning the fact it is better to have tazzine in vetro, glass cups, or tazzine in ceramica, ceramic cups. I personally prefer the one in glass, but there are many people preferring it in ceramic. But for sure, we do not use the Starbucks cup. We use the tazzine even for the caffè lungo. We don't use those very specific cups. Where do you use them? In the country we are talking about. So, you have him taking out from this paper bag the Starbucks cup, opening it, adding the milk, the sugar, and mixing it, closing it, and drinking it. It's just that. That's the video, and he's basically doing this very slowly. Many said, so stupid, oh my god, this video. It is actually a well-thought reference to another video made with the same rhythm and the same concept. In fact, this performance, it is referencing Andy Warhol so-called Burger King video. What is this? The minimalist setting, and I'm quoting Wikipedia, I'm not saying things. The minimalist setting and the repetitive gesture recall a famous clip in which Andy Warhol eats a hamburger taken from the documentary 66 Scenes from who we are talking about, America, the US of A, from the 1982. This was also showed in one of the Super Bowl. I'm not that informed concerning this part, but it is a part of the pop culture, okay? And is clearly referencing. All the references I pointed out hint not at Italy, but at US, because all the stereotypes you see in the song are usually made in US. In fact, many said, Kodakons, you are a fucking clown, because when US created these stereotypes, you didn't say anything. It's not that you are suing like them for, I don't know, creating The Godfather. Also, like, personally, I am against any type of censorship. I prefer to talk about why something is problematic instead of just saying, no, we're going to cancel you. I actually prefer, like, it's okay, like, I have nothing against The Godfather. I understand that it is part of the pop culture and whatnot. And also, there is another hint, both in the performance of the Estonian contest, both in the official video, and it is the outfit. Tommy Cash is wearing a very specific outfit with very specific colors, which are blue, white, and red, the colors of the US flag. And of course, if we can say it, I don't know if this was a specific reference also to Trump, because Trump is often wearing these outfit combo, let's call it like that. So yeah, this song is not talking as much as it about it is not talking about Italy as much as USA. This is a little bit a criticism to all the stereotypes US created about Italy. In fact, it is not, oh, look how cool these stereotypes are. It is like, actually, guys, we made stereotypes, we are keeping them alive, and this is pretty much a problem. Mainly when, for example, we mentioned mafia, who is still killing people even nowadays and killed many, many people in the past. So it's quite like something delicate you shouldn't joke as much about. But I'll give you another layer, in my opinion, given also the meaning of the Andy Warhol Burger King video, which is the criticism is not directly to US or US citizens, because it wouldn't make sense. It is more, at least for what I see, a criticism to what US usually represent. Two specific values that were criticized also in the Burger King video of Andy Warhol, which is a criticism to, one, capitalism, and two, consumism. More consumism, but since like usually one is the consequence of the other. In fact, also the video of Andy Warhol concerning Burger King was a social critique to consumism. And I see also the critique in this song, like the visuals of the video and the lyrics and the song are all together. It's a whole meaning package, okay? And where do we see the consumism? For example, by the fact that you have cheap coffee corrected with milk, because if you add milk to coffee, you mask a bit the cheap taste of the coffee, and also the sugar. Many brands from US are famous for adding tons of sugar to hide the cheap taste of the cheap materials. Like here, it's pretty much criticizing Starbucks and all the brands doing the same. Why do you get the latte, the espresso macchiato at Starbucks? Because it's a mix with ice, cheap coffee, cheap milk, a lot of sugar. So the classic product of consumism, okay? And the consumism, it is also mentioned in the second verse, flying private, wanting to show off expensive jewels, things generally speaking, with the 24 carati, having the villa, having a lot of money, working the whole day, probably not even properly legally speaking. Probably also that's why he mentioned specifically the mafioso. What is this model if not the worst version of capitalism? Because don't get me wrong, I am socialist at the base, but I'm not saying capitalism is the source of all the issues. However, like any economic theory, any economic model, it can be extremized and abused. Of course, abusing capitalism means to create a system where you work a lot, not everything is Not everything is properly legal, just to make a lot of money, having the private jet, buying the expensive jewels, having the big villa, and so on. That's why I'm saying it's not an attack to US and US people directly. It is more because usually US it is used to represent these two values, which are generally the economic system, so the capitalism at its worst and the consumism. That's why, as an Italian, I am not very offended. On the contrary, personally, I would also say, yeah, he's also a bit right, if you have to ask me. I would be much more, in Italian we say preso in causa, which means feel not targeted, because again, I don't think this song is against people, against a country. It is more against a negative model of society based on extremist capitalism and consumism. The consumism, objectively, we can't afford it anymore for a series of reasons. It's not an healthy system. Capitalism, on the other side, it depends. The one criticized here is the extremist capitalism. Okay, so I don't think anyone should feel offended because it is not targeting people. It is more about trying to stimulate, to tease a reaction and to have you think about how problematic certain predominant economic system are. Okay. It is more, the problem is not your country's shit, you are an asshole. It is more, probably, I would like you to think that probably the system you are using, the system you are basing your society on, it is a bit problematic and it is causing issues to you, your people, and your country, and the whole world, because of course the economic system chosen by the most powerful countries also affects the whole world. So if we have the majority of the country of the countries promoting, for example, consumism, we can end up like we ended up right now, so with a lack of resources. We are learning, we should focus more on learning how to better manage our resources because they are not infinite. So in the end, I don't think people should feel offended. I don't think people should hate on the singer or on the song. I don't think people should feel attacked. It is more about what people should start thinking about. So it is more about we should all reflect on problems that we have nowadays, objectively speaking, because we, at certain point, if we don't think about dealing with these problems now, we'll reach a point where we won't have a choice anymore and probably will have to deal with drastic solutions. So again, it is more an attack, or at least teasing and provoking to push things to reflect on the problem caused by capitalism and consumerism. As people, I don't think that neither Italians nor US people should feel attacked or offended, because it is more about these economical systems. Like, the focus is more about the economical system. In this case, of course, the artist decided to take US as a face for this economical system. But the problem is not only related to US, is a problem for everyone, because in the end, as a world, we pretty much choose to go for capitalism and consumerism, right? So it's like a little bit food for thought for everyone, and nobody should really feel offended or attacked. At least this is not what I saw in the intentions of the artist. But I might be wrong. I don't live rent-free in the head of Tommy Cash. Would be cool, because I guess the mind of Tommy Cash might be some trip, so would be cool, but sadly I don't live rent-free in his head yet. So this was my interpretation of the song. But yeah, I don't feel offended, I don't feel attacked, and I don't think that people should feel attacked either. I don't think these stereotypes are meant to be taken seriously. Personally, I don't think that stereotypes, generally speaking, should be taken seriously by definition of stereotype. So really think, don't get offended. That said, grazie everyone for watching. Don't forget to let me know what you think about this song, because it's not that easy as many people might think, the interpretation, I mean. That said, arrivederci.